Hey, second grade friends, Mrs. Hamilton here. Welcome back to another reading lesson and a new week. I am actually coming to you from the classroom, so that's really exciting. I came in so I could use my paper here to show you what a fable is. So we have been studying fairy tales together for quite a few weeks. And when we started, we learned that fairy tales had magic and they had royalty. And sometimes there were talking animals, and it usually started with once upon a time and ended happily ever after. Well, we're going to start studying a story called a fable, okay? And a fable is a short story that teaches us a lesson. And a lot of these stories are really old. They've been told over and over and over again to lots of boys and girls over the years. So usually they're short stories. Under my pink flaps of paper here, I have some characteristics of a fable. Or, like it says in the middle of my bubble, what do we find in a fable? These things that I've put on our chart here are going to give us a clue that we are reading a fable, which is a type of a fiction story. So it is a pretend story, it is made up, and it teaches us a lesson. So let's see what we have under our pink flaps. Okay, the first one. The setting of our fables is usually outside. A lot of times it's going to be in nature or in some kind of outside setting. Next, many times there are 3 characters. And a lot of times our characters, as you can see here, these are animals. Okay? So far, we've got the setting of our story is going to be outside, and there's going to be 3 characters many times, 2 or 3 characters. Next, one of the characters has a weakness. See, characters has a weakness. Maybe there's something that they're not very good at, or just something that makes them weaker than the other character. And as we start to read these stories, you'll understand what I mean by this. Next, we'll move right around. What's under this flap? It's a short story. I already told you that one. Fables are usually short stories that can be told pretty quickly. A lot of times they were told as bedtime stories to teach children lessons back a long time ago. And so they were just told, they were retold by words and not always read. And so they were pretty short stories. All right, next, as we move around our map, we have a moral or a lesson. At the end of a fable, you're going to learn a lesson, or the character is going to learn a lesson. Or sometimes it's called a moral. What is the moral of the story? Tomorrow when we start our fable reading, we're going to find a moral at the end of our story. So you can remember back that that goes on our map, and that tells us that it's a fable. And then finally up here, animals that act like people, and this is a really important one. Fables are going to have animals that talk and might even act like people. That's a really big indicator of a fable. So let's go over what we've learned so far, okay? A fable is a type of fiction story. It's a fiction story. Now, I taught my boys and girls in one of our reading groups that we remember fiction like this. It makes me think of magical pretend things. So do that with me. Okay, ready? A fiction story. I can see you. Did you do it? So a fable is a type of fiction story. The setting is outside. We have 2 or 3 characters. One of our characters is probably going to have a weakness. It's going to be a short story, not a long type of chapter book. At the end, we're going to learn a lesson, and that lesson a lot of times is called a what? Yeah, a moral of the story or the lesson. And then finally, there's going to be animal characters that act like people. All right, boys and girls, you don't have a seesaw assignment today because today was just an introduction to our fables. So after you're done watching this video, you are done with your seesaw assignment, okay? And then tomorrow, we are going to start listening to our very first fable. I can't wait. Thanks for learning with me today, friends. I'll see you tomorrow.